Hey friends, have you thought, oh, I just wish I could have more affection if our relationship just had more affection in it? It'd be much better. Well, that's what we're talking about today. What is affection? How do we get more of it? Why don't we have any? And why does it matter? Okay, listen up. Hey, I'm Lydia. I used to be an ordinary stay-at-home mom and wife. We had 2 kids, and for 3 years, everything was perfect until we got pregnant again. But this time with quadruplets. There was so much stress going from a family of 4 to a family of 8 overnight, so I created a system for renewing our relationships. This channel is dedicated to sharing that system, every single part of it. I love teaching how to connect, manage emotions, and turn it all into growing together times. You're going to find all that information right here. All right, are you ready? What is affection and why do we need it? First of all, I want to say my name is Lydia Taggart, and I'm so glad that you're here. I had a question, or a statement rather, come in from someone, and she just said, I want more affection. So this is for you, Dawn, and I'm sharing this because I know it's helpful for so many other people. Usually when we have this feeling, since we're all humans, more than one of us is going to benefit from sharing. So thankful for Dawn sharing this question to me of how do we get more affection in our relationships? Okay, first of all, what is affection? What is it that we actually really want? So many times we just throw it out there, I want more affection. And then we're like, well, what does that look like? I don't know, but I'm sure, I'm so certain, I'm certain that I don't have enough of it in my life, right? We don't know how to say, this is what it means, and this is exactly how I want you to show it to me. Because, first of all, it's kind of vague. We just don't know what it is. We haven't thought about it on that deep of a level. But also, there's a piece of it that defines affection and love as not having to ask for it. That we just mind read each other, that's body language reading actually, and we know that something is missing and we need to do something about it, and then it can become more affection. Well, if we don't have it in our own mind, maybe we don't want to ask for it and say, hey, I need you to hold my hand, then it feels funny, right? It just feels weird to just say, I need you to tell me that you love me. Then it's like, well, did you actually want to? There's this desire that is a piece of receiving affection, right? We want them to desire as part of it. But also, if we don't define it for ourselves in our own mind, clearly, affection means I want him to hold my hand. Affection means I want him to tell me that he loves me. And have these set standards, we can call them markers to measure by, that we know if we're getting it, is not going to be getting. We're not going to get the affection unless we actually know what we're looking for. Okay, we can say, oh, it feels like, but over time, if we're not actually measuring and checking to say, this is what I was getting, he was holding my hands 3 times this week, and then next week he held my hands 5 times, that's an increase of affection. But if we're saying, I just want him to hold my hand all the time, well, what is all the time? And how do you measure that? And you're making progress, but unless you define it and track it, then you don't know if he's actually getting what you want to give to you, right? So affection, defined by the dictionary, is a gentle feeling of fondness and gentleness. Okay, it's a very feminine kind of desire. Men like affection too, but this tender fondness is not easily understood unless we show them what we expect, what we want, and have that conversation. Okay, so that's what it is. We need to define it. But why do we need it, and why is it so hard to actually get? Okay, there is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And I've talked about this a lot of times. The relationship renewal system is based off of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. They're things that humans need, okay? We need food, shelter, water, and after we have a semblance of these things that are on the basic level, then we can focus more attention to the other things of structuring our time, structuring our meal plans. If we have food to make a meal out of, it's a lot easier to structure lunchtime, right? Makes sense. Well, above that is the belonging piece. Maslow's hierarchy of needs states that people need to feel like they belong. We need it as humans. We're not good when we're on our own alone. We might step back once in a while and take a break from all the crowds because it's overwhelming and a lot of people is stressful, but it's not good for us to be alone for very long periods of time. We need to feel like we belong to a family, to a community, as a couple. So many things that we can find that we belong to, that we want to belong to, okay? And finding this affection feeling is a higher level need. In the relationship renewal system, we teach that you connect physically first before you can connect emotionally and so forth. And guess what? Affection as an emotional need. It fills that higher level of connecting, okay? So what's missing below it? When we find that we don't feel like we belong, we find we're a little disconnected, we can step it down and say, is there something missing in this level? Well, maybe there's something missing in the lower level below that that would support this one so I could get that one. And if we step it down and find what's missing, then it naturally flows to the next need being fulfilled. Okay, it's like we're having a tantrum, okay? Yeah, we're grown up and we're adults, but we still are human and we still have emotions and we still have needs and we still get frustrated when those needs aren't met. And we get really frustrated when we don't know how to communicate those needs in an effective manner so that we can progress together, right? So like any child having a tantrum, there's a couple of different ways this plays out. We can kick and throw our hands and get angry and frustrated and make a big scene about it. Do you have any of that going on in your relationship? A little scene making with all your frustration and emotions exploding because you don't know how to express what you really need? Maybe. Okay, that's one form of a tantrum. There's also a silent treatment. Fine. And we stomp off. I'm not going to talk to you then. You got that going on in your relationship? Maybe. All right. I know these are common because we're human and this is human behavior, okay? It's not exclusive to young children or teenagers. It's a human trait, a human experience that we can progress through and learn to manage. Just because we're older doesn't mean we learned everything, right? So I'm so glad that you're here because for either experience, the emotional outburst or the silent treatment and withhold, either way, it has the same fix. It has the same solution piece. Okay? It's okay. You ready? You imagine a toddler in a grocery store. They want a candy bar. Mom says no. But I want it. And they start kicking and throwing themselves on the floor. And what happens next usually isn't very pretty. But sometimes, if a mom has been trained and learned this magic trick, then everything smooths out. What if, instead of yelling and making her own scene or storming off all embarrassed, what if that mom bends down, scoops up the toddler, says, I know, I'm here and I hear you, and validates the want and hugs the child. Even though the arms flailing around might sound kind of dangerous, but that hug and that validation calms the child. Oh, okay. Maybe I'll get a candy bar next time. Okay. and they're able to talk about it when the emotions have cleared. And we're able to think and communicate. It's the same in a relationship as a married couple. If we're able to reach out and validate each other and connect on a physical level, even if it's just holding hands or a touch, you're just touching. It doesn't have to be a big drawn out, it can just be a little touch. Physical connection, validating their emotions, validating your own emotions, and then you can communicate and say, I really, really would like you to, whatever it is that you're asking for. You got to define it first. And then when that connection is made, they go, oh, right, I really do want to do something like that because I love you. And remember, you married each other on purpose because you love each other. You haven't fallen out of love. You've fallen out of connection. You got disconnected first. And you can come back together and become soulmates, or even better. All right, so this is it today. We'll see you next time.